Hi there, it's Asia, and today let's practice answering some of the most difficult questions in IELTS reading. True, false, not given, and yes, no, not given. This type of questions can be found in every IELTS reading test. And the difficulty of those questions depends on where you find them. Those in the first section are the easiest, and in the third section are the most difficult. And the difficulty of our practice questions will arise just like in the real test. This video is purely about practicing, but I've done my research into true, false, not given questions, and everything I've learned about how those questions are built and how to solve them, you can find in my other video linked in the description. And now, let's get started. Let's begin with some true, false, not given questions that you could find in the first section of the test. Could you please count how many you answer correctly today and post it in comments? I want to know what your level is and how you're doing. Before you read any questions during your test, you should read the text title. It will give you the idea what's it all about. Our title is Alexander Henderson. So you know it's all about a man. With true, false, not given questions, you should read the first question, then find this bit of the text where the answer lies, and then try to figure out what the actual answer is, okay? Let's have a look at the first question. Henderson rarely visited the area around Press Estate when he was younger. So we know that the whole text is about Henderson. But I see some keywords. Press Estate. That's the name of the place. And these words will help us find the sentence where the answer lies. I found it for you. The family often stayed at Press Castle. You see, there is a match. The large mansion on the northern edge of the property, and Alexander spent much of his childhood in the area, playing on the beach near Eyemouth or fishing in the streams nearby. If you want to think about what the answer is yourself, please pause the video now. And we continue. So this is a long sentence, but not all parts of it are relevant. We see that here there is a location of the castle. We don't need that. And you clearly see that that part that I just crossed out was added to the sentence because there is a comma here and comma there. So we don't need that. And then we read that he spent much of his childhood in the area. And then here we have the description of what he was doing. Again, we don't have anything like that in the sentence, so we just cross it out. And now we have much less left. Now we should compare each part of the question and the sentence to check if the meaning is the same. So here we read that he rarely visited the area around Press Estate. You see, not the Press Estate itself, but the area around it when he was younger. In the text we read that Alexander spent much time in his childhood in the area. So we see that the area matches the area here. So actually even the word is repeated. And then when he was younger, of his childhood. These are synonyms. But the question says that he rarely visited. Rarely means not often, occasionally. But we read that he spent much of his childhood. So what's the answer? The answer is false. Our second question is, Henderson pursued a business career because it was what his family wanted. What are the key words here? I would say these are a business career. So that's what we'll be looking for. And I found this sentence. Although he never liked the prospect of a business career, he stayed with it to please his family. And I see a direct match, a business career. Probably that's because these questions are coming from the first section of the test, the easiest section. Let's read the question again. He pursued a business career. And here we read that he didn't like it, but he stayed with it. So pursued and stayed with it. The meaning is the same. So why? Because it was what his family wanted. So family wanted it. And here we read that he stayed with it to please his family. So the meaning is the same, right? The answer is true. Henderson and Norman were surprised by the results of their 1865 experiment. What are the key words? The first one is Norman. It's a surname. Surnames are always keywords. And 1865, the date. That's how we find where the answer is. I found it. He, or Henderson, became a personal friend and colleague of the Canadian photographer William Norman. That's a match. The two men, so these are the two men we're looking for, cooperated on experiments with magnesium flares as a source of artificial light in 1865. Okay, the same time period. Let's read the question again. They were surprised by the results of their 1865 experiment. Experiment here, and they cooperated on experiments. Yes, the same date, same experiments. So here we see that they were surprised by the results. And here we read that they cooperated. So cooperated just worked together. What else do we know? Experiments with magnesium flares as a source of artificial light. There is nothing about results and nothing about their reaction. So this bit is actually just irrelevant. So that's everything we know, because the next sentence is already talking about a different thing. They belong to the same societies. So what's the answer? Were they surprised? The answer is not given. We don't know. I think it's time to move on to more difficult questions you would find in section 2. But before we do that, I want to say that when you practice answering IELTS reading questions, I really recommend using official practice tests, because those tests are written by the same people who create exam papers. So the difficulty is the same and questions are built the same way. Several practice tests are available for free, including a full computer-based test which looks exactly like the real thing. And they all are linked in my IELTS study plan in the video description box below. Okay, the title of our next text is Why Zoos Are Good. And questions are true, false, not given. Let's dive in. There are some species in zoos which can no longer be found in the wild. So we are looking for species in zoos. Yes, this question is from the second section, so it's more demanding in terms of vocabulary. And these species, or these animals in zoos, they can no longer be found in the wild, so they are only in zoos. And I found a similar sentence. A good number of species only exist in captivity, with many of these living in zoos. Okay, so species in captivity. They've been captured by humans. They are not free, and many of these are in zoos. So yes, that's a sentence. And they can no longer be found in the wild. Yes, they are only in captivity. You see, the meaning is the same. And the question is talking about some species, and the text is talking about a good number. So I would say the meaning is very, very close, and the answer is true. Zoos have always excelled at transmitting information about animals to the public? Yes, in the second section, questions are already getting more difficult, so we need to read more to find the answer. First of all, what are the keywords in the question? What is it about? I would say it's about transmitting information about animals or giving information about animals to the public. Let's read. There is the education that can take place in zoos through signs, talks, and presentations, which directly communicate information to visitors about the animals they are seeing and their place in the world. Do you see the match? Communicate information. It means the same as transmit information to visitors or to the public. And about the animals. So there is an exact match. Now, let's have a look at the question again. Zoos have always excelled at giving information. To excel means to be good at, and have always excelled, that's the present perfect tense. It means they're good now and they were good in the past. They have always excelled. Now, let's read our text. So we know that zoos communicate information to visitors, yes, about animals they are seeing and their place in the world, so we don't need that. This was the area where zoos used to be lacking. Okay, and to lack something, means you don't have something, you're bad at something. And used to be means that in the past they were bad, but now they're good. So they have not always been good. And that is direct contradiction. And that means the answer is false. Question number 6. The statement is, studying animals in zoos is less stressful for the animals than studying them in the wild. What are the key words here? What is this statement about? I would say it's about studying animals in zoos. That's what we'll be looking for. And I found this sentence. Being able to undertake research on animals in zoos, where there is a less risk and fewer variables, means real changes can be affected on wild populations. And I see this research on animals in zoos. So if you study animals or you do research on animals, the meaning is the same. And we are looking for the statement, so studying animals in zoos is less stressful for the animals. So it's less stressful than studying them in the wild. So animals will be less upset, less disturbed if they are studied in the zoo. And let's read the text. Being able to undertake research on animals in zoos where there is less risk, we see this, less risk, and fewer variables. Now, let's compare the meaning. Studying animals in zoos is less stressful for the animals, so animals will be less upset. But this sentence says that studying animals, there is less risk. So perhaps there is less risk of an animal dying or of a researcher getting injured. But we don't know anything about stress. Is the meaning the same? No, it's not. What about fewer variables? So variables are things that change, something like diet or weather. That can happen in the nature, and in the zoo, it's all the same every day. So again, it has nothing to do with stress. So, is this statement that we have, is it true or false? We can't say. The answer is not given. Okay, are you ready to try the most difficult questions? Those you would find in the third section. These are typically yes, no, not given questions. And in order to find an answer to one question, you need to read 2 or sometimes even 3 sentences. And the passage itself is more difficult too, so most likely you will not be able to understand everything. The key lies in concentrating on things that you're looking for and disregarding the rest. Okay, the title is Motivational Factors in the Hospitality Industry. Or in simple language, what motivates people working in hotels and restaurants? Here is our question. Question number 7. This is a yes, no, not given question. The statement is, one reason for high staff turnover in the hospitality industry is poor morale. What are the key words? What are we looking for? I would say we're looking for high staff turnover. And turnover means that people don't work for the same company for a long time. They often leave. That's what we're looking for. Let's read. High employee turnover. Yeah, that's the match. That's how we know that the answer is here. Let's read it all. High employee turnover has been a recurring problem throughout the hospitality industry. Among the many cited reasons are low compensation, inadequate benefits, poor working conditions, and compromised employee morale and attitudes. Okay, let's have a look at the question again. We're looking for a reason for high staff turnover. For one reason. And it says that one reason is a poor morale. It actually doesn't mean that it's the only reason. It just means that it's one of the reasons. And here we read, among the many cited reasons, yes, are low compensation. Is it the same as poor morale? No. Inadequate benefits? Again, no. Poor working conditions? No. Compromised employee morale? Actually, we see the same word, morale here and morale here. It means we need to compare the adjective, poor. And here we have compromised. Do they have the same meaning? I would say yes. And in this case, what's the answer? The answer is yes. Question number 8. Staff should be allowed to choose when they take breaks during the working day. What are the key words here? What is this about? I would say it's about taking breaks. Taking some time off work to have a bit of rest. That's what we're looking for. And yes, in the third section, you often need to read quite a lot just to locate your answer. Here it is. DEARY has recommended several actions that can be adopted at the organizational level to retain good staff, as well as assist in balancing work and family life. Those particularly appropriate to the hospitality industry include allowing adequate breaks. That's a match. During the working day, staff functions that involve families and providing health and well-being opportunities. Okay, let's go back to our statement. It says that staff should be allowed to choose when they take breaks. So, employees should be able to decide when they have their time off work during the day. So those actions should include allowing adequate breaks. So I see a match here. Staff should be allowed, and here allowing adequate breaks. So if breaks are adequate, it means they are long enough. What about choosing when to take those breaks. There is nothing about it in the text, right? Not given. Question number 9. An improvement in working conditions and job security makes staff satisfied with their jobs. What are the key words here? So I would say we should look for working conditions and job security, but also we should look for what makes staff or people satisfied. And it's a third section, so we need to read quite a lot. But look for the keywords. Herzberg, 1966, proposes that people have two major types of needs. The first being extrinsic motivation factors relating to the context in which work is performed, rather than the work itself. Do you see anything? Not really. These include working conditions and job security. Bingo! We have our match. Let's read on. When these factors are unfavorable, job dissatisfaction may result. So satisfied or dissatisfied? Significantly though, just fulfilling these needs does not result in satisfaction. Again, but only in the reduction of dissatisfaction. Okay, let's have a look at our statement again. An improvement in working conditions and job security. An improvement means that working conditions and job security will get better. And that would make staff satisfied or happy with their job. So let's look for that. These include working conditions and job security. When these factors are unfavorable, job dissatisfaction may result. But unfavorable is actually bad. We're looking for an improvement, so no, that's not it. Significantly though, just fulfilling these needs does not result in satisfaction. And actually here, look, fulfilling these needs means that these needs will be met, and that is an improvement in working conditions. Yes, the same meaning does not result in satisfaction, does not. And our statement says that it would make staff happy or satisfied. So we see a direct contradiction, right? And that means that the answer is no. Done. I've shown you 9 questions. How many could you answer correctly? Please tell me in comments. To find links to all the free official practice tests, download the IELTS study plan. And to learn everything I've discovered about this type of question after analyzing all the tests published in the last 3 years, watch this video. Thank you for being with me today. Good luck with your preparation and your exam.